Wondering if you should read Gary Vee's latest book, Crushing It? In today's video, I share my honest review with you, as well as provide a few tips and some slight warning signs for those of you who might be chronic hustlers. I'll share how you can get the most out of the book without going into hustle overwhelm. If this is the first time you are joining me for a video on my channel, I put out new videos every single Tuesday sharing different tips and insights to help you grow your business online using value-driven content. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit different because I am sharing my review of Crushing It by Gary Vee. It's not going to be so much step-by-step strategy as it is in some of my other videos. But that said, I figured it was an important thing to talk about this particular book because I've heard it so many times brought up in different entrepreneurial circles that I interact with both on and offline, as well as I've had clients bring it up when I'm on calls with them. And there's some things I wanted to mention that stuck out to me in the book as being hugely valuable, and some things that I think small business owners could benefit from almost putting blinders on against when it comes to Gary Vee's style and approach. So right out of the gates, let me just mention, if you are a huge Gary Vee fan, you may not like this review. And if you are a Gary Vee hater, you also may not like this video. I'm not going to really discuss his personal approach when it comes to marketing and personal branding and all of that. I am strictly going to talk about the content of the book and how I believe it can best serve small business owners specifically. That said, let's get into the review. So I read this book as part of a book club that I'm in with some other fellow female entrepreneurs, and I was a little hesitant about really wanting to dive into this book because I know how Gary Vee can be. He can be very excited and energizing and inspire action in people, and I tend to be an action taker who's pretty energized and excited about things all on my own. So sometimes listening to Gary Vee, whether it's an audiobook, a podcast, whatever, or even reading his content, can almost just make my blood pressure skyrocket. However, I will say the structure of this book didn't do that to me so much. It is very much broken up into the different platforms that he's talking about. And I found that to be hugely helpful because right out of the gates, I could get his take on a specific platform as well as the stories that he shares, examples from people who followed him for a long time, who've had success on different platforms. He shares examples, which is really helpful to hear or see. I listened to the audio and read the physical book because things just stick with me better that way. But it was hugely helpful to hear stories of people who'd actually implemented some of the things that he shares about how to get the most out of your presence on different platforms. So the bulk of the book is basically a guide to crushing it on different platforms that are popular right now. Everything from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. He even dives into Musical.ly, which, to be honest, I don't know a whole lot about, and I'm cool with that. But he dives into how you can really optimize your presence on these different platforms and how you can sort of test them out and get the most out of that. Here's the thing though. His advice to test out all these platforms is helpful if you're a marketer. Now, if you're a large company who has a marketing team, also helpful for you. If you're a small business owner who it's maybe you and a small team of 10 or less implementing your marketing strategies and doing everything else in your business, this approach to testing out all these different platforms can be pretty overwhelming. That's the warning sign I wanted to give you because I've heard this come up even on client calls that I've had recently of people wanting to implement and test out all these different things that they've learned from Crushing It. So what I want to share with you today is that if you do decide to read Crushing It, I recommend approaching it with a curious mindset. You don't need to dive in and think you need to implement every single thing that he happens to share in this book or every single strategy that shows up in one of the stories that's shared throughout the book. Instead, learn a lot, learn about the different platforms, and then pick one to go deep on and really experiment with because all these platforms that he shares, they all now are multifaceted, meaning there are a lot of different ways to create and share content on those specific platforms that you can be testing and trial and erroring your way on one platform for years to come. Beyond that, you'll notice that the different stories that are shared within each platform's chapter, the success came because those people, the subjects of the stories, happened to focus on primarily one platform. Now, they may have been on a few different platforms, but you can tell that the majority of their focus was going into one platform. So if you're a small business owner or a marketer who is prone to overwhelm, like me, then approach reading this book with that mindset of curiosity, that you're here to learn and you're going to take away what's right for you and not feel obligated or like you're not going to be successful if you don't implement every last step that is shared in this book. So for me personally, I obviously found the YouTube chapter hugely helpful, especially since I read this book right before I launched my YouTube channel, and I'm still working to implement some of the steps that he shares in the book to optimize my channel. So there you have it. There's my honest review of Gary Vee's latest book. So if you do decide to read Crushing It, let me know in the comments below which platform you're going to focus on as you're reading the book, or after reading the book, which platform really resonated with you. Also, let me know if there are other business and marketing books you'd like me to review in the future. I love some great ideas, always up for a good read. And of course, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I share new videos every single Tuesday all about how to grow your business online with value-driven content.